Well, hello again. We are getting set to go on a trip up to Jacksonville, Florida, and then continuing on to Stone Mountain, Georgia, up outside of Atlanta, for some family events this long weekend. This is a Thursday. We're getting the bus ready to go and heading out later today. And we'll spend Thursday night and Friday night at Compass RV Park in St. Augustine, which will be a first for us, as we attend a memorial golf event there for a family member. And then on Saturday morning, we're going to head up to Stone Mountain in Atlanta and spend the weekend in Atlanta and into Monday attending Katie's sister's graduation for her master's. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. So of course, we're getting ready to go, and what happens when I go and pop the key in the old RV and turn the ignition? Nothing. Well, I've known for some time that we've had to replace the chassis batteries on this, and it looks like it's going to force me to do it a little sooner than I had originally anticipated. So to change the chassis batteries in our Newmar Dutch Star, we first look at the battery bank, which is here. These two darker colored batteries are the chassis batteries. These four 6-volt batteries are the house batteries. They're another project coming up soon, but not as soon as these. Even though our alternator, which was just replaced, is charging these at the appropriate level, they're just not holding a charge. So I went to Interstate Battery and bought a new set of Group 31 batteries, these two here, which will become our new chassis batteries in this coach. The very first thing I'm going to do, which is probably the most important thing, is I'm going to take my cell phone camera here. I'm going to take some pictures of the way the batteries are set up, because I do not want to mess up this wiring after I take it off. I want to note which posts are the positive and negative. We have negatives on this side, and we have positives on this side, as well as all of the wiring that's going to these posts. So that's definitely one important thing. The next thing I want to do is disconnect the battery from the coach. Most coaches have a master disconnect, and ours is located right in here inside of our motor compartment. So I'm going to, if I can reach in here like so, and flip the switch. There. We are now disconnected from the coach. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen these battery nuts, remove the wires carefully, and pull these old batteries out. We'll place the new batteries in and then continue to wire up. So bear with me as I do that. Okay, so now that I have the batteries out, this is what I've got. And you'll notice with lead acid batteries, there tends to be a lot of acid dust. So I'm going to scrape that up a little bit and vacuum that all out and clean it up a little bit before I put the new batteries in, which are here and ready to go. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. Basically, I've got these in place, I've got them strapped down, I've got all of the connections hooked up the way that they were, and now I'm just going to tighten down the lugs, being very careful not to touch any other metal parts or leads when I do this, because we wouldn't want to create a short and, worse, get a shock. There's something about fresh batteries in almost anything, and an RV is no exception. I'm looking forward to being able to hit that key with confidence, and knowing, especially since we're getting ready to go on a big trip this summer, that at least my chassis batteries are good and strong and ready to do their job, especially now with the new alternator that we put in last month. So I know that they're getting the appropriate amount of charge, and they should be maintained fairly well for the next few years, which is what we're hoping for. You just want to snug these up. Ideally, I suppose you should have a torque wrench, but I'm just snugging them up, not knowing exactly what I would have to torque it to anyway. but these lugs do a great job. By the way, you always want to take photos like I did, or write down a diagram of where your wires went, because there are so many, and once you take everything out and go to put it back in, it doesn't always look logical like it was before. Some manufacturers like ours put a chart here, so at least you can see how the connections go, but it doesn't always cover all these other extraneous wires coming from, you know, various other sources such as solar and whatnot. So it's always a good idea to put everything back the way it was. Okay, we are nice and snug, and we have a new set of chassis batteries in our bus. Let's check it out. And of course, the last thing we don't want to forget to do is to come back in here and turn on our master battery switch. I always like to check belts and things like that too before a long trip, just to make sure that they're on with the appropriate amount of snugness. I look at my coolant level to make sure that's looking good. I look at other levels over here to make sure everything looks good before a big trip, because the last thing you want to do is be looking at this stuff on the side of an interstate. So let's go see how our new batteries do. I have the key. So exciting. I know, geekdom. It is geekdom big time, but here we go. Keys in. Oh, let me put the tilt down so we can see the gauges. What I'm looking for is our voltage meter. And yes, okay, let's see what happens. We have a motor starting. And then we have an alternator charging. Yes. It's a happy bus. This light, by the way, just indicates that my jacks are down. We've talked about that in a previous video when it comes to the automatic leveling system. So, because I have the refrigerator on and getting cold for us on the trip, you always want to level the coach, especially since it's not a residential style fridge. It's one of the old style propane, electric, gas kind of thingies. So we wanted to make sure that was all right. The anti-lock brake thing that you saw flashing there goes through a diagnostic code every time it charges up or starts up. And that just lets you know that everything's okay there. If it stayed on, obviously you would have an anti-lock brake problem, but everything looks good. I just heard our air dryer purge, which means we've reached pressure. Oh, this is another thing that I've got coming up. These pressures should read pretty close to identical, and the reason they are not is that the sensor on this one is incorrect, and Spartan Chassis, who is the manufacturer of the chassis of this coach, has issued a recall many years ago to have that replaced and fixed. And the previous owner of this coach, we're not the original owners, the previous owner never got that done. So I determined that that hadn't gotten done with a quick phone call to Spartan, and they are having our local Newmar dealer in Orlando take care of that, who is a authorized Spartan service center, but they had to order the parts, so it wasn't available when we were there last month. So we'll get that next time. And yes, I know the jacks are down. Anyway, that's how you do a chassis battery replacement on your coach. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to us. Just hit subscribe. We would love to have you on board, so when we post new videos, you will be able to check them out. And you can visit us on Facebook, RV with the Laws, and also at our website, rvwiththelaws.com. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.